What's up, guys? War here. Welcome back to the channel, and we are on day one of the Amazon, and I am having such a blast with this build. It has been super fun, and in today's video I'm gonna give you guys a starter leveling guide to this build. We are in Act 2 right now. We just got to the Halani Gates, or not the Halani Gates. Where am I? The Halani Gates. So we're just a little bit into Act 2, but right now this is just making me cruise straight through the game so far. So I hope that this guide helps you out. So we are playing Rake. We are going straight bleed build because bleed is super strong. But I'm going to go over a few things before you actually get to Rake, because Rake is a level 6 skill gem or level 5 skill gem. So when you first start out, what I am going to suggest that you guys do is Whirling, Slash, and Twister. This is a very strong combination. I'm going to show these in here real quick. What you want to do is you want to use Whirling Slash and rack up 2 to 3 whirls right here, and then you're going to throw your tornadoes. Okay, this is a lot of damage. These are only actually level 1, but I do want to showcase this really quickly before you get into Rake. So using these is incredibly strong. You come in here, dash at these guys, and then you throw your tornadoes, and you just rinse and repeat, throw your tornadoes. And it's a great skill to use. Let's not bleed to death. It's a great skill to start off using, okay? But once you eventually get to level 5, then you are going to use Rake, okay? I didn't put any support gems into Whirling, Slash, and Twister. You don't necessarily need it until you get to level 5 skill gem. And then after that, we're going straight Rake. And then we're going to be using Stomping Ground as well as Martial Tempo for the attack speed, and Stomping Ground that creates a shockwave when we take a step with the supporting skills. So we're going to run back here. Rake is very simple. Rake is basically this version of like Ice Strike for the monk. I would say it's like that version of it. Limb the Reaper is giving me a little bit of problems, but you can see all this bleed damage at the top here. You see this bleed damage. I hope I don't die to this guy. These little racks of things are really strong. No, there we go. Nope, not today. You can see the bleed stuff up here, and that stuff just racks up, and then boom, they're dead. It is very strong, and it has carried me through here so far, and it's very powerful. Like, you just drain them. I'm not even gonna grab the rest of that stuff. But Rake, it's one button. You don't have to use anything. I use Lightning Spear with it in combination because there's a lot of really good skills that use like going back and forth, like on the tree, for example. On the tree, there's like this Stalk and Leap, where you get increased melee damage if you dealt a projectile attack hit, and projectile damage if you've dealt a melee hit. So you kind of go back and forth. You could just throw Tornado in here or Twister in here if you really wanted to, just to increase the speed. But you can see how much damage that this does, and the explosions that come from Herald of Blood. I am using Herald of Blood on here, which causes these explosions, which is super cool. It kind of works just like Herald of Ice, but it's just bleed now. So this is Rake. You just run through. You can parry and block if you want to. I have Shield Charge on here, but it's very simple. So let's go over the skills real quick. So we got Rake, Stomping Ground, and Martial Tempo. Lightning Spear, I just have Lightning Infusion in for now because I was using Martial Tempo until I got Rake. Herald of Blood, I don't have anything else in Herald of Blood at the moment. I'm not really sure what's really good to put in here, because initially it says it's unscalable. So I'm really curious. I'm not really sure what I can put in here. So right now I'm just leaving it as is, but it seems to be working just fine. I have Disengage. I actually really like this skill. It's the one where you see me do a backflip. It's actually really good. And if you have parry on here, like if you do raise shield and like parry, like when you parry somebody, you can do an explosion with that. But Disengage is really good for evading a lot of attacks, especially when you're fighting bosses in this game. So Disengage, very cool, just personal preference. We have Shield Charge, of course. If you guys want to rock Shield Charge and just move faster through the game, you just Shield Charge up and you're good to go. And outside of that, that is all I'm using right now until I level up my character some more. This has been very, very powerful, very, very fun. You disengage, let them run at you. All those explosions come from the Herald of Blood, and it's just so satisfying to play like a different version or different, like a cool build. And this is on the brand new Huntress, so it's very, very cool. There's not a whole lot to this right now. What I will say as far as gear goes, I have a Miracle Edge Winged Spear. Right now, I don't think there's a really big difference between any of the spears that you actually need. What I would suggest is you try to get like at least one element of damage on there, whether it's cold, lightning, or fire. Increase attack speed if you can. The mana per enemy killed is actually really nice if you have it. Increased physical damage is also very strong. So the spear is the most important thing as you're going through the campaign. The rest of my gear is very subpar. This is just accuracy, energy shield, life regen, which is nice. This is just, again, some resistances and life regen. Here, again, life regen and mana and strength. On the gloves, I have attack speed. Any gloves that you can find with attack speed is going to be really good for this build. Boots, any boots with move speed, I could actually probably just augment and add that. 6 dex, even better. Life, same thing here. Reduce charges, that's fine. The rings, iron rings, or any ring that can give you physical damage is huge, because physical damage is what we are going to be using with Rake. The only way to help scale this is AoE, melee strike, physical, and then travel. So that's really good. Of course, attack speed and skill speed also really works with this. The chest piece, again, nothing here, just a little bit of resistance and life, not very important. Shield, now you do have to have a shield to use shield charge, obviously, but the buckler does not give you shield charge, so totally up to you which one you want to use. Either one, doesn't matter, whichever one that you prefer as you're going through the campaign. So that's the gear, guys. Very straightforward, nothing special there. Now into the passive tree. Huntress is over here kind of mixed in with the Ranger. They kind of redid a lot of stuff here, which is really cool. So the line that I took is increase attack damage all the way down. We're going to grab Primal Instinct first. Then we come down and grab Stalk and Leap. Then we're going to come down and get into our first attribute nodes. Now, you might be asking, like, why am I doing strength as opposed to, like, pure dexterity? Well, for the campaign, I want to have as much life as I possibly can, because with all the nerfs from the patch and how much harder the game is to a degree, and how much stronger these monsters and things are with all the stuns and all these things that they've added to the game, life is just the most important thing for me going through the campaign, which we've used when we do our twink characters or we make alternates, and we just take everything strength. So I'm taking strength on everything. Strength is going to give you more life. If you take dex, you get accuracy, and then intelligence will give you mana, right? So we're doing strength. I do need to switch this one over, but it's fine. We're going to come down and we're immediately going to take escape velocity for increased move speed and evasion. I do have a nice little 32% evasion, which is pretty cool. Then we're going to come down. As soon as I get a jewel, that'd be nice. But I came down and I grabbed Maiming Strike. That's what I grabbed last. The only reason that I have intelligence nodes, guys, is because I need 18 intelligence to use this shield. However, if I wasn't using that, these 3 would be strength. That stuff will change in the future. What I would advise you to do is, you have a buckler or whatever, you can just use strength in these nodes. Then we're going to come down, and I added the node here because we're going to be coming into Incision Chance, into Inevitable Rupture, as well as the bleeding damage, which increases the magnitude of bleeding. So we're going to grab these nodes. However, you want to grab these 3 skill speed nodes with acceleration for the move speed, and then another 16% skill speed, which effectively allows you to do your stuff faster. So this is where we're at. We're level 21 currently. So at level 25, we would have these 3. That puts us at 24. And then 25 puts us at our first Incision Chance. Now, Incision is something new that they've added, as far as I know, to the game. So Incision is a debuff, which causes the effective target to gain increasingly higher chance to be afflicted with bleeding when hit. Now, we do apply bleeding automatically with Rake, which allows us to stack this up very, very well. So in here, getting the magnitude, because magnitude of bleeding you inflict against enemies affected by Incision. So it's a nice little combo for this build. So that's what we have for the passive tree, guys. Very straightforward. You can also come down and grab Blur. I eventually do want to have this. There is some more bleeding damage stuff that we're going to take here. But for right now, we're coming down to grab this stuff, because down here is where all of the spear things are. There's a lot of increased damage with spears, crit damage, crit chance, increased damage with spears that we're eventually going to take. But I will provide you guys with an update as we go along. But, you know, I started really late. I had to work today, so I just got home about 4 hours ago and got to play. So right now we are like, where are we? 3.5 hours into the game, and we're like halfway through Act 2 because of all the server issues. So guys, it sucks. I know we've all had the server issues throughout the day. But this build is what I'm working with now until we find something better. But I will provide an update as we get into the end of Act 2, Act 3. So, yeah, guys, this is just absolutely phenomenal. Rake is insane. So as soon as you can get it, grab it, and just destroy absolutely everything as you're flying through here. Even against bosses and elites, it's super strong. One note I do want to add to this about bleeding, especially with single targets, is like when you hit somebody for bleeding damage, they do take a lot more bleeding damage when they're moving. So when you hit them and they're moving, you can see how their bleeding just increases as they have to move. So they just take even more damage. Now, you don't have to always run away, but against bosses and high-level elites, you know what I mean? You can just move, deal the damage, run around, evade, and then like shield charge back in if you want, and you're good to go. But yeah, guys, this is Rake and Bleed. Day 1, this is the build that I'm working with, and it's fantastic. So like the video, guys. That really does help out the channel and help blow us up. Make sure to leave a comment, guys. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you guys think about the Huntress class. What are you playing on day 1? And yeah, don't forget to subscribe, guys. As always, stay gaming, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.